Welcome to the Blessors of Israel Podcast. I'm Matthew Dodd, Executive Director of Blessors of Israel. Today, honored once again to be in studio with Pastor Rich Jones, the founder and chairman of Blessors of Israel. Well, October 13th, 2025, a date for the history books.
Oh my, it's beautiful.
What transpired? A 36-hour round trip. President Donald Trump travels to Israel. There, just an incredible occasion where he meets with the president, Herzog. He meets with the prime minister, Netanyahu. They make that, 45-minute trip from Tel Aviv to the Knesset. And there he signs the guest book, given honors, meets with hostage family over there for 4 hours beyond what he was supposed to stay. And then from there he travels to Egypt. And
official
meets with
signing,
world leaders there.
You know, it's a monumental day. I mean, how long we've been? Well, 2 years, right? We've been praying for 2 years for the return of the hostages. Now,
and all 20 are back now.
All 20 are back,
back.
We're all celebrating, right?
Absolutely,
we're all celebrating. At the same time, we grieve. There were a lot of people lost, and I don't want to ever forget the price of many tragedies that brought us to this point. Now, we should celebrate when it's a day to celebrate, right? So we're going to do that.
Agreed.
And man, it's over, right? That's the news. It's over, and finally,
it's over in terms of those 20 hostages.
Well, right.
There's still more work to be done, and even today, there's been some back and forth between Israel and Hamas.
Yeah, the bodies of those who were perished have not been returned, and that was a deadline given. That deadline has now passed, and so now the pressure is going to start, amping up. But I mean, they have no more living hostages. Now they know that to Israel, the bodies of those who perished are very, very precious.
Exactly right.
So they do still have, card.
A leverage of sorts, but then Israel came back and said, okay, we're going to not open up the Rafah crossing like we said we would, and we're going to not restrict completely, but limit the amount of aid that comes in.
Right.
That did appear to motivate Hamas to release another 4 bodies, but when they released them, they were unidentified, and there's talk about another 4 more to be released. But then they're saying, we don't know where the other 16 are.
Right, and they've been saying that for some time. And so now, could there be some truth to that? Perhaps.
And that's why you're going to have Arab countries like Egypt going in.
Right, try
to locate. Israel says, we think we know where some of them are, but it's going to be a very difficult process.
And then there's the phase 2. Now, this was all phase 1, right? Phase 1 was the release of the hostages that Hamas had, release of the prisoners that Israel had, 2,000 Palestinian, most of them terrorists, were released.
250
back, hardened
murderers.
Blood on their hands, terrorist murderers. That was part of the deal. And look, in a compromise deal, there's a lot of give and take.
No one's going to be happy with the results.
And no one was happy with that, because you know for a fact that they are going to join the leadership. And they got anger, and they got history, and they got blood in their hands.
Exactly right.
We have more problems to go. But this was all phase 1. Now, phase 2 is yet to be accomplished, of course.
Though President Trump said phase 2's now, you're exactly
right.
We're not fully out of phase 1 because the bodies haven't been fully released.
But ultimately, we have the issue of, is Hamas going to fully disarm? And there will be a lot of pressure to bear. Again, when this deal was done, the Hamas militants had to rely on the deal, you might say, on the pressure from the United States against Israel and these Arab countries against Israel, that Israel would essentially do what they bargained to do. But now, now that is done, they're relying on, or I should say, these nations are now relying on that pressure against Hamas. Okay, now it's time to pressure them. They have to come to the table and decide that they're going to disarm, number one, and that they're going to hand over the governorship, the rulership, you could say, of Gaza to some, neutral military presence. Now, that is a lot to achieve still.
It is, and President Trump doubled down today with regards to Hamas, disarming, turning over leadership of Hamas, or of the Gaza Strip, and word is out that there are many mass executions that have taken place. Hamas says these people have been traitors, they have partnered with Israel, and so public executions as a way of saying, we're still in control.
They're exercising their heavy hand.
Exactly
they're
right.
really saying, no, we are the ruling power.
So then Trump comes in and says they better disarm and walk away, or there's going to be punishment, precise, harsh, immediately.
Now, what does that mean?
We'll see.
Ultimately, what that means is that he's threatening Israel's militant response again. But I think that no country is going to, we're done, right? We have no patience anymore for any more war for years. I think, honestly, if they can't accomplish it, Hamas is just going to rebuild.
I agree. And so now you have a situation where you're relying on the likes of Erdogan from Turkey. I mean, he comes out today saying, we are going to police any genocide. Right. We're willing to step in. And they're a major enforcement player in this.
Sure.
Then you have Qatar, a major funder of Hamas.
Right.
I mentioned during our last podcast, here you have an organization, a country that creates the problem, and then comes in and says, I have the solution to the problem. Here I am to save the day, Mm-hmm. And so you have, Erdogan, who was so clear in regards to his view on Israel, on Netanyahu, calling him bloodthirsty, a vampire, Hitler, Nazi regime, genocide. Now you have both of these countries coming in. Yes, you have the more moderate ones like the UAE that's involved, but you have these heavy hitters, these big players here, a lot of money, a lot of military force, and now they have a footprint there in Gaza. Can we really trust the outcome?
Well, and notice what they're saying. We're there to make sure that Israel doesn't commit genocide.
But
what? This is a one-sided guarantee. Where's the guarantee that Hamas is going to disarm? Where's the guarantee that Hamas is going to relinquish control? I don't hear this.
Exactly right.
And this is the problem. Ultimately, they are there just to make sure that Israel doesn't restart the war. But will Hamas remain in place? Yes. I'm saying yes.
I think so.
I'm going to call it here.
I think so.
And
that's the problem with the deal. Everyone in the West wants things tied up so quickly that they didn't let Israel do what they said they were going to do and finish the job.
Now, having said that, I think that Israel does have a very, very strong hand to play, and that is that they can shut down that Philadelphia corridor.
That's right.
They
the Rafah crossing, the whole thing.
Right, to Egypt. They can control the borders and boundaries around, which essentially is just going to foment the problem more.
Exactly.
But still, you must do it.
They're going to keep that buffer zone. They're going to see, they're at the 53% mark right now versus 57%, so they've pulled back to a degree.
Right.
But that doesn't mean they're going to pull back any further unless they have those assurances in place that they and their people are safe.
And so there are still, machinations of control that they can negotiate. They have a hand to play. And I really think that ultimately this is going to drag on for a long time. Hamas will still be there, but Israel will control it.
Yeah, I agree. And again, I think we have to give credit to where credit is due for President Trump and his leadership to press through to get things to where they are today. I mean, many, thought, how is this going to be possible? And he did muscle across just to get those 20 hostages, which was really Hamas's leverage point.
That's right.
To get those back home and with their families. An amazing accomplishment.
And I'll tell you what, it's interesting right now because many of the enemies of the president are coming out and saying, you know what, got to give credit.
Got to give credit. You do.
And so
but we're not done yet with this, as you said. And in many ways, we have to be concerned because of Erdogan, a Turkey, who wants to restore the glory of the Ottoman Empire. You have all of these players now. And remember, they're also in Syria. A big footprint there in Syria.
Yes.
To the north, now you have them from the southwest.
Yeah.
Very significant.
But there is nevertheless a realigning of the nations. I mean,
really
there
is
a complete recalibration of the power balance in the Middle East, right? Hamas has been reduced to a fraction. Hezbollah reduced to a fraction. Syria redefined. Iran reduced to a fraction. Even the Houthis have been greatly, greatly diminished. Qatar increased.
Definitely.
Now, we need to follow that one carefully.
Very concerned about Qatar because, it was just reported that there might be an Air Force base in Idaho, of all things,
right,
with Qatar to do training for their pilots.
Like, what is this?
And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? First we go from Air Force One to an Air Force base?
Wow. This is why we can't receive good things.
Well, gifts come with strings attached,
That's
don't
my
they?
point. That's
Exactly
my point.
right. Exactly right.
Here's a $400
and when I saw
jet.
that, I just about jumped out of my chair. It's like, are you kidding me?
Here you go.
And the timing of it, literally.
Right.
Oh, my word.
So,
and there was a big, if you looked at social media,
oh, yes.
people were crying foul on that one.
Foul.
Like, are you kidding me?
No.
We were concerned. They're in our media. They're influencers in our media.
Sure.
Al Jazeera. Then you have the political footprint that they have. They have the colleges. There's so much money that they put into all of these things. And you got to remember, just back in 2017, Saudi Arabia and UAE wanted to wipe them off the face of the earth because of what they're doing. But they have turned their reputation around. They're controlling that narrative. And as I said a moment ago, they create the problem so they can come in with the white hat and save the day.
And I'll tell you what, if this deal with Hamas wasn't the...
Or maybe I should say turban. Anyway.
If this deal was with Hamas wasn't the major news of the day, that deal with Qatar would really be a deal.
I agree.
Because that is something that we need to watch.
Well, but there's been concerns about China purchasing properties near our military bases.
And they've been doing that for years.
Yes, they have.
And China's been purchasing rights to ports all over the country, our country, right? In the United States, China controls several ports.
Now they come out talking about the rare earth minerals that they want to leverage and control. I tell you what, so we really do need to watch them.
We must watch that. I think also what is happening with Russia testing NATO constantly. We got to watch that.
Threatening nukes.
They are because of the long-range missiles that the United States is supplying to Ukraine. And we have a complete recalibration going on. Now, we're going to celebrate what's going on in Israel. This is a day to celebrate. We're not going to throw a lot of water on the concerns, but there are concerns.
This requires prayer. It requires the church to be alert, to be discerning, and to discern the voices that they're listening to. Because even in conservative circles, it is very polarized right now.
True.
And so we need to know how to parse through all of that and understand a biblical perspective when it comes to what's going on in our world right now.
So I celebrate. I know you celebrate. This is an answer to prayer. We've been praying for 2 years. But there is so much more to be done there. There's so much more to be aware of when it comes to the nations, particularly as we're seeing, again, a biblical fulfillment right before our eyes.
I agree. Well, thank you so much for joining me in studio today. And I want to thank you as well for joining us. And for those who are watching this podcast or listening for the very first time, I want to encourage you to visit our website at www.blessors.org. That's blessors with an ors.org. When you go to our website, on our homepage and other pages as well, you'll learn about our vision and our mission as an organization, why we exist, why we do what we do, not just with the podcast, but in other ways as well, because we're really wanting the church to be informed about the importance of standing with Israel in the latter days. I'd like to encourage you to visit our newsroom as well. There you will see not only our library of podcasts, but original articles with the biblical perspective, And scroll down the page a little bit there. When you see news from outside sources, you will see curated news similar to what you'd find like on a Drudge Report or something like that, that would have a list of different articles, curated news concerning Israel and the Middle East, because we really want you to be the best informed. Let it be your first stop. Bookmark that page so you can check out the latest news concerning Israel and the Middle East. If you haven't done so already, I want to encourage you to like this podcast, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you tell your friends, the people you go to church with, your family, about Blessors of Israel. We want to increase those who are being impacted by this ministry, and one of the best ways to do so is word of mouth, just sharing that information with others too. You can follow us on Facebook, X, and Getter, and we appreciate your prayers, not only for Israel, but for Blessors of Israel and your financial partnership as we build this new and important ministry. Remember, those who bless Israel will be blessed. Shalom, shalom.